Not. The most people get killed, as you can imagine, with nighttime severe weather. We have our big system in the east, and then throughout the northwest, that's where we have the snow starting to come down here in and around the Seattle area. We average 5.9 inches. Out of this one weather maker today into tomorrow, we could see 12 to 18 inches of snow. Epic is the only way to describe this system. I'm so fired up about it. Mother Nature is fired up as well. This morning, causing severe weather, our tornado watch has expired, and we do have a warning here for multiple counties in Indiana until 8:15 local time. A warning means it's imminent or it's occurring. We also have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. You can see hail, damaging winds. You can never rule out a tornado. This is like a springtime system. On the backside of it, we've got the snow anywhere from Iowa to northern Illinois and Wisconsin. On the front side, it's all rain. Those mild temperatures still sticking in place. Cleveland getting it good. Everything is moving east. We head south to show you the storms from Texas all the way into the deep south. And again, everything is moving to the east. Severe weather continues. The worst of it where you see the red shading on the map, and that does include Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana as well. And in the northeast, this shows you what's happening right now. Follow along. We will see hour by hour those storms getting their way into the nation's capital, New York, Boston, Burlington, even staying above freezing. So sorry, you get the liquid stuff, not the frozen stuff until a little bit later. Indianapolis, you've been seeing those storms this morning as well. Wow, look at these dark clouds, thunderstorms, 54 degrees. Once the front comes through, temperatures are going to be dropping. Let me show you what's going on here. As we head hour by hour through the day, we have our front coming through. There's that changeover to snow that Mike mentioned as well. And our temperatures are dropping very fast. We have seen a 24-degree temperature drops in places like Springfield and Oklahoma City this morning in 2 hours. Can you imagine your temperature dropping over 20 degrees in 2 hours? This front is very, very well defined. Atlanta, we're going to get in on the action as well. Dry right now, 48 degrees, but let me show you that rain coming on in. It's moving in from the west. It's heading eastbound, so clouds and showers. But again, watch Memphis here. Our temperatures are going to drop as we head throughout the day with that front coming through.
Jack, huh? Richard,
I love that. I love that story. Coming up, your weather headlines and all these random whale facts. We didn't know you were such a whale watcher. We actually enjoyed that. Let's now turn our attention to the northwest, and it's promising enough snowfall in Seattle to meet or even break the record of 20 inches that sets back to 1950 with the biggest snowstorm. Natalie Swaby from King TV joins us with how the area is preparing. Nicole, are people excited or dreading this? Thank you for that. Hopefully this can be more of a fun event than a dangerous event for people. It doesn't look like it, but Mike, this looks more like springtime than winter, doesn't it? I mean, you have the severe on the front and the snow on the backside of the system. So let me show you what we are going to be dealing with as we head throughout the next 7 days. Today, a mess. Great Lakes, northeast, south, and into the northwest. Obviously, the colder air just through the northern tier. Places like Minneapolis, we have yet to go below zero this season. Seriously. We've never seen that happen before. Mike's going to have more details on that coming up and the problems it's causing, though I know a lot of you know the issues that we're seeing with that. The northern tier, we are seeing that snow, and the colder air stays basically right through the northern tier. We just can't get any in the south and barely can get it on into the northeast. Otherwise, Orlando, 78 degrees. Let's work into our Thursday. The action stays in the northwest. It's going to be soggy. It's going to be wet. You're going to have to dress for it because with the rain, I mean, today Seattle is going to be into the 30s. We're typically into the 40s. It's going to be colder than average, and you get the rain and the snow on top of that. That damp, wet, cold is the worst. I'd rather it snow than have a rain at 35. As we head into Friday, messy weather moves back into the Mississippi River Valley and eastbound. Look at this. We just go on and on and on. It keeps on here into the west coast, also into the Intermountain West. Sunday, it stays along the I-5 corridor there. And then as we head into our Monday forecast, more weather in the west and another system headed from the Great Lakes down into the Gulf Coast. Mike?
On the lakes. And again, Steph, we've seen this over and over again this winter.
Yeah.
Minnesota's having a tough time because the temperature is just so warm.
It's scary. All the Great Lakes, we're not seeing that ice like we have in past because it has been so warm. Coming up next, we have your morning. If you've been enjoying this warmth, enjoy it because the front is coming through and our temperatures are going to be much colder. You see all this blue? That's going to overtake the yellow into places like Memphis. Now, we have seen significant temperature drops. We're talking some 20 degrees in just a matter of 2 hours. Look at Springfield going from the 60s to the 30s from 2 o'clock this morning until our current time. Places like Wichita down into the teens, Omaha as well. And this yellow is going to continue to get shaded away by our front as it comes through. We're going to get some fropa, my favorite word, a very distinct front. The northern tier is going to stay below average. Look at all the yellow temperatures, 15 degrees above average, and that's how it stays through a majority of the week through the southern tier. And Mike, all that cold air, it just hangs out right through the northern tier.
Well,
Michelle, thank you.
When we come back, major snowstorm bearing down on the west. We have details when we return.
A lot of weather to get to here, so stay with me because we're going to be moving quick. We have two systems to focus on. The snow is starting to fall in Seattle, and when all is said and done, we could see a foot to a foot and a half. We average 5.9 inches. It's already starting to come down here. Jim Cantori will be live in Seattle starting this afternoon covering that event. Otherwise, it is snow on the backside of the system. Kind of looks like a springtime storm that we have. Severe weather on the front and snow on the back. Otherwise, this line that is pressing right through Indianapolis, stretching all the way down as we make our way into Illinois, is causing some stronger thunderstorms, severe thunderstorm warning, Bicknell and Odin counties until 9:30 local time. Hail, damaging winds. You can never rule out a tornado. Perhaps a little bit of frozen stuff here along 80. Otherwise, rain through the D.C. area and in the south as well. Showers are moving eastbound. Atlanta, watch out. I think we're going to see some backups at the airport with those storms coming in. And we do have storms into Texas. It's going to continue into the afternoon hours. Where you see the red shading on our severe thunderstorm map is going to show you where we have the highest probability for that severe weather, anywhere from portions of Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, down deep into the south. Mike, how's this affect hour by hour here in the Northeast? It's going right up East Coast Main Street, which is I-95, New York City. Boston, you're going to get in on as well. Not a lot of you will see the frozen stuff. Many of you will see the liquid stuff falling from the sky. Just not cold enough. It's going to get cold though behind the system in Indianapolis, 51. But watch out because the temperatures are going to be dropping as we head through the day. Once this front comes through, it's coming through now here, Indy. And watch our temperatures behind the system dropping through the day. Chicago, 37. Then we go down into the low 30s. That's where we should be, by the way, for our highs this time of year. And it continues to chill out here into the Great Lakes. Now, that is looking at as we go through the day today, clouds and showers continuing here. Florida, we're going to be nice and hot into the 70s. It doesn't look like that front is going to get deep down into Florida today, just throughout perhaps the Panhandle. Mike? Coming up next, we have your weather headlines. We're tracking 12 past the hour. More on the developing story in the Northwest, slamming the Pacific Northwest. We have the potential for a record-breaking snowstorm, the old record 20 inches back in 1950. Jake Wittenberg is joining us from King TV to show us how the area is preparing. Jake, are people excited about this or dreading it? Large snowball. Who's going to be on the receiving end of that? Jake, thanks for that report. We certainly appreciate it. Good pack and snow.
More of it later in the week.
It starts to slow down. But Mike, would you say the weather affects what you listen to music-wise? Your music choices? You know, rainy, cold, snowy day versus a hot, sunny day?
Probably, yes.
Yeah, probably, but not off the top of your head. I mean, I'm not sure that it affects me, but I'm asking that today on Twitter and Facebook. Does it affect you? You guys are having a lot of fun with this question because it seems like many of you are affected by the weather and what you listen to, what's coming out of your speakers. So those of you who listen to it seems like more like the slower type music, maybe the acoustic, the slow jammy type stuff. When it's cold and snowy out, that's what you're going to be listening to as we head through the day today. Tomorrow, you're going to have a little switch up, a little change up because the sun will be back. Otherwise, cooler air through the northern tier. And look at this front, a very well-defined front that is going to continue to move south and east. So basically, those of you who, when it's a dreary day, listen to the slower music, you're going to be in the northern tier. The sunshine, though, will be into the south. Huge storm setting up there into the northwest. Seattle, 33, about 10 degrees below average. But with those temperatures right around freezing, that's going to make for some bigger snowflakes because they kind of melt and refreeze and stick together, and also potentially some good packing snow, all that moisture and those temperatures around the 30s. We do see our temperatures start to kind of moderate here. All of this cold air, it's all in quick shots. Like maybe you're doing an espresso shot this morning. That's what the cold air is like. Just boom, it hits you, and then you're finished. As we head into our Saturday, a system moves eastbound here along the I-95 corridor. Sunday, it just stays active along the west coast from the Rocky Mountains to the I-5 corridor. And then as we roll into our Monday, again, still action in the west, and our temperatures, Mike, still mild.
Stephanie, so for so many people, you've got to be aware of what that thickness is to be safe.
I'm honestly worried about the Great Lakes because they haven't frozen over, and I'm curious to see if that even happens this year.
We might get lake effect snow like well into February and March. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? All right, a lot more to come this morning.
Jackie DeAngelis. Good morning, Jackie.